Good evening. I'm going to talk about European imported beers. As you can see, I have two Italian beers in front of you. Birra Moretti, which is owned by Heineken, and Peroni Nastro Azzurro. Now, a lot of European beers are owned by big conglomerates. For instance, Peroni is owned by Asahi Group, a Japanese conglomerate. And they have breweries all over the place, so this is not always brewed in Italy. Often it is, and often it's even imported to the US from Italy. But this one happens to be brewed in the United States, in Milwaukee. It says so on the box in which I bought it. The Birra Moretti is imported, so it was brewed in Italy. Now, what's the difference? Well, let me give you some anecdotes. In 2004, I went to Dayton to view the eclipse in April. And before I was there, I had a few days before the eclipse was coming. I spent the weekend there, and I went down to Cincinnati, and I went across the river into Newport, Kentucky, where they have a Hofbräu house. Hofbräu Original is one of my favorite beers. I know it well. Every time that I have a Hofbräu, I take a drink of it, and it's very satisfying. I know it well. Well, I ordered a Hofbräu Original at the Hofbräu house in Newport. They brought it. I tasted it. I drank some more. I thought it wasn't right. It was off. It didn't taste right. Something was wrong with it. And I asked the bartender, I said, I think there's something wrong with this. Maybe it's stale, something, I don't know. And he had the taps and everything checked out, and he said everything was fine. And, we started talking, and I found out from him that the Hofbräu Original that they brew at the Hofbräu house in Newport is brewed there on site in Newport, Kentucky. And he said that all the ingredients are shipped from Germany, and they even have a brewmaster from Germany oversees the brewing operation to make sure everything is correct. So I asked him, is the water imported too? And he said, no. Well, that's the one variable that's different, is the water. So perhaps the water made the difference. Brewing with local water, wherever they get their water from in Newport, Kentucky, maybe from the Ohio River or a reservoir somewhere, I have no idea. But it wasn't the same. Also, while I was there in the Cincinnati and Dayton area, I looked around online for German restaurants, and I found at least one German restaurant who had a note saying that their Hofbräu was imported from Germany, and they specifically said it's not brewed locally. So it would seem that if they put that in there, then it was known by people, or maybe they had complaints that the local version wasn't as good, that was noticeably different. So they made it a point to let people know that they had the original Hofbräu from Germany. Now, remember the German beer Löwenbräu, which in the United States would often be called Lowenbrau. In the 70s, Löwenbräu licensed Miller Brewing Company to produce and sell their beer in the United States. They reformulated it, and they marketed it, and it took a lot of criticism. And due to the reformulation and the marketing of Miller, it damaged Löwenbräu's reputation. So when their license deal ended in the late 90s, that was it. And lo and behold, just started importing their beer to the United States. Now, I haven't seen it anywhere, but I understand that it's still available in certain markets in the United States. So it seems that whenever you have a good German beer or a good European beer and they brew it in the United States, it's not the same. It's different. Even if they was to import all the ingredients and brew it the same way, they're probably still using local water, and that's going to make a difference. Now, is U.S. water bad? I don't know, but they do put fluorine in it. Fluoride, fluorine, whatever. And I don't know if that has an effect on the taste. I don't know what kind of effect that has on the beer. Maybe there is some kind of chemical reaction in there that alters the taste of the beer a little bit differently. But I know that I have tried Peroni Nastro Azzurro in the past in my beer comparisons, and I didn't like it. However, if you're lucky, you might be able to find some that's brewed or that's imported. Just make sure that when you buy Peroni, look on the box, on the bottles, whatever, and make sure it says imported. This one said imported. Heineken is another one. Heineken, who owns Birra Moretti, they brew Heineken in other breweries as well, not just in Netherlands. So when you buy Heineken, make sure that it says imported on it to get the one from Europe. Now, I'm going to try to do this blind, even though there's more foam on the Peroni. It might give it away when I taste it, when I put it up to my lip. But here are the two beers, side by side. Hopefully, you can see the difference. They're both very clear. They're both producing a bit of carbonation. They're both maintaining a little bit of a head. I did smell one of these beers, or maybe both, after I opened them. I can smell that here, and I can smell this. Green bottle beers tend to be more skunky because of the light. They don't filter out as light as well as brown bottle beers. So the older they get, the skunkier they get. But both these beers have a slight aroma to them that is very, very faintly skunky. So when I taste these, I'm going to have to remember not to try to get a whiff of the aroma when I put it up to my nose. Although I'm hoping that the foam doesn't give it away. I felt quite a bit of foam there. I'm thinking it's the Peroni. It's not bad. I got some aroma that time too. But now there's that flavor. It might be that same flavor that turned me off to U.S.-made Peroni the last time I tried it. But we'll see. I'm thinking that's Peroni. We'll see. Quite a bit of foam on that one too. Not quite as bright as that one. Not as bright, a little bit more malty. I would say this is a little bit more hoppy. This one seems to be more malt forward than that one. And malts give beer sweetness, but I'm not really tasting a lot of sweetness. I'm kind of thinking that this one is sweeter. Well, it's not really that great. So I really don't know which one is which. This one's got sweetness all the way through. But it's a brightness to it, a sweetness to it. This one's a little bit more, can we say, caramelly? Just a little bit. Well, I don't know which one is which, but I do know that there is a distinct difference between the two. So which one do I think is better? I don't really, this one's flavor isn't really that great. I'm leaning towards this one as the better one. So I might as well open my eyes now since I think I've decided which one I like better. I still don't know which one is which. The head, the foam appears to be about the same. This one kind of reminds me of Pabst. Sweet from start to finish. Hardly any bitterness. Going in, it's brighter and it finishes the same as it goes in. And the finish isn't really that unpleasant, where the last time I had Peroni, it did have an unpleasant finish. And this one is also fairly consistent, finishing the same way it goes in. But the flavor just isn't that great. I think I'm going to give it to this one. And it's the Birra Moretti. So, there's just something about this Peroni. And I don't know if it's the US version. I don't know if the Italian version is as bad as this. But to me, it's not a very good beer. And I have I bought a 6-pack of this to do this comparison. So I'm not looking forward to drinking the rest of those Peronis. Maybe I'll have to buy some other beer to compare it with, so I can wash it down with the other beer. I don't know. It's just something that puts me off. And that's too bad, because it should be a good beer. Well, why should it be a good beer? Well, because it's made in Italy. Well, just because it's made in Italy doesn't mean it should be a good beer. And this one's not made in Italy. But Peroni is a popular beer. It's sold in a lot of places. They're still in business, so evidently people drink it. But I don't. I don't like it. And I won't buy it to drink, but I will buy it to do comparisons. And although I will avoid doing comparisons with Peroni unless something comes along where I decided to do an Italian beer comparison. Now, if I can get my hands on some imported Peroni, then I would like to do a comparison between imported Peroni and US-made Peroni. But I don't know if that'll happen, because I don't know how common it is to find imported Peroni. So I'm going to go with the Birra Moretti. It's sweet, it's consistent, fairly well balanced, but I think it could use some more hoppiness to it. Although it is more hoppy than the Peroni. I don't know what it is about the Peroni. Maybe it's the Milwaukee water. I don't know. But I'll pass. Birra Moretti gets the win. Thanks for watching.